I'm sorry, guys. I went live without getting the mic ready, but it's ready now. We're good. Okay, I'm going to start talking. And I realize now I have to start talking. Um, if you've known me and if you've followed me either on YouTube, Facebook before now, you know that I don't know, years ago, I would do lives constantly about every issue, about, just all kinds of stuff. And then it went silent. Um, and I will tell you, pushing stream on this live has been the single hardest thing that I've had to do in the last year. And, um, but this is something I have to share. And it's too long for one sitting. So I will just, when it bubbles up, I'm just going to share it as it comes. But today I want to share one aspect of what has happened. Some of you may already know a portion of or a section of my stomach had to be removed due to necrosis, which is dead tissue, loss of blood supply. We'll get back to what happened prior to that and why, and all of those things later. That's not this video. It will come. Trust me. Just like if you've heard me go live before, I am super transparent. I don't hold back. Um, but today, I'm going to tell you, and I want to try to stay with one subject, which is uh, I don't even know what to call it. So let me just tell you what happened this week. So, mind you, I've been down for since December, basically. The two though there was an initial surgery in December that went seemingly well. There was a but due to loss of blood, I ended up back in the hospital 7 days later because of bleeding. And it was, then there were two more procedures. And that is where I ended up coming home with an open wound that is still open to this day. And was bedridden. And if you've watched and if you happen to be online late night, you might have seen me post a video of it. It was extremely graphic. I literally did not know that this was even possible. Like I would have thought if you had a wound of this type, you would just die. Like I did not know. So a lot of this is me kind of getting educated. And I will tell you, at the beginning of it, from day one, I started doing some videos. And I started going down the path. I was kind of staying with abundance and gratitude. And those are things because that's who I am. Um, but I was not talking about the truth of a lot of things that I was experiencing at the time. And so because, and here's the thing, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because I do believe that's why I'm not healing. I believe I'm not healed, or should I say not healed? I am healing. Um, Not healed is because I was supposed to experience every single thing. Nothing happens by accident. I was supposed to experience every single thing that I experienced throughout the last 5 months. Um, because it was tied to my purpose. And for many people that I spoke to, I said, this is tied to my purpose. This is tied to my purpose. But I didn't know what the purpose was. I do know it's tied to me speaking and talking, but I didn't know what it was about. Is it about tax? Is it about ERC? Is it about race relations? Is it about what is it? And then it occurred to me now, the wound in my stomach is my purpose breaking from my gut out. It's literally physically impacting me. And I said, I'm just going to start sharing because somebody needs to hear this story and what has happened. It is long, so I'm going to just go. Let me get to the point because I'm bad about that. If you followed me before, you already know this. So just fast forward a minute or two or 5, 16, and there you go. Okay, so here's the point. Just this week. So I'm going to talk about what happened, I guess, last week. So I've been down with that. I see a wound care specialist every single week. I have an infectious disease specialist for antibiotics, to do IV injections as they need to with regard to infection around the site. I have a surgeon who has been awesome. Like, if he hadn't told me a lot of the things that he told me, called me personally and said, "Hey, watch for this, watch for that, watch for this," I don't know that I would be here. I'm going to be honest. I don't know that I would be here because though it initially seemed like the surgery was the issue, what I found in the last or through the episodes of this is that the surgery was the beginning of me understanding and moving in alignment with my purpose. And everything happening after that was tied to that. So here goes. Last week, it was Wednesday, I believe. Well, actually, a few days prior, the weekend prior, this wound, started being very painful. And I would say by about Tuesday-ish, there was a smell that had not been there. And I literally was becoming nauseous by the scent. And as you know, I mean, I don't know if you like me watch sociopath kind of movies, but I watch sociopath movies, murder movies, ID channel, all that. So I know enough to know that it is unnatural for the human body or the human, us as people, to smell either dying tissue, infected human tissue, anything human tissue. We're not designed. Now, there are things that women go through every month. Yeah, it's not pleasant, but we're designed for that. But as far as injuries to this degree, we're not. So what was happening is I was actually getting nauseous because of my own body and because of this. And for a very long time, I could not even look at the wound. I would just take a picture and then I'd have to build myself up to be able to look at it. And then, of course, there is a scent, it's normal to nurses. It's not normal to me, but I didn't like that either. But I didn't really, because of how it was protected with the wound vac, I didn't smell, there was no smell for me except when they were cleaning. Okay. But anyway, back to this week or last week, there was a scent. Now the wound vac was still on. So I shouldn't have smelled anything like I hadn't before, except when maybe they changed things over. And it wasn't a nauseous smell at that point. It was just a bloody, like whatever. It wasn't, I mean, that wasn't a problem. So anyway, the smell got really bad. So I said, I'm going to go to my primary care and explain to her and see what's going on, because my wound care specialist could not see me the Monday of that week because there was not a referral that they received from my primary care to them that allowed extended the visits, whatever, that the insurance, mess. So they could not see me. So I went to my primary, got the referral, did that stuff, and then went through, her taking, or listening to what I'm saying about it, because she didn't really look at it because I have a specialist, but she did listen. And I explained how bad it was and, the scent. And she said, well, I don't smell anything. I think it's a little bit in your mind. I mean, you're not a nurse. You're not used to that. And I thought, okay, got it. And the nurse said the same thing. So I thought, okay, got it. But I'm steady going, God, this is like, I literally was sitting in their office because I couldn't face forward because of the scent. Okay. I had called. So I leave from there. I come back home. I call my In the meantime, I'm still getting workout, like, but I'm just so distracted because I'm becoming fearful. So I call the wound care specialist and I said, hey, I left a message and said, this is what's going on. There's the scent, there's a lot of pain. Like, can I, what do I need to do? Can someone call me? So their machine says they're going to call at the end of the day. Great, no problem. So I get a call at about, I don't know, 4:15 ish, something like that. And I think they close at 5 or whatever. And so I explain what's going on, but I also had said it on the message. But anyway, and so this is the actual doctor. And he says, I tell him what's going on. And he goes, and I said, I just need to, decide whether I need to go to the ER, or come see you. And he goes, well, I'm going to call in a prescription for you. I said, well, I can't take oral antibiotics. So it would need to be through my infectious disease, And so he said, well, I don't know what you want me to do. I mean, because that's going to take time. I can refer you to someone across the street, but I would need to see you first. And I said, okay, well, I can head there right now so you can see me to give me a referral. And he says, no, it's the end of the day and we're getting ready to go home. And you have an appointment already for tomorrow at 3 p.m. And so why don't you just come to that appointment? And I'm like, well, I'm really afraid because I don't want to be septic. Now, mind you, this is this is a professional physician talking to a patient who has had this same wound since January. The same wound. I've never once complained about a smell. I've never once complained about pain. I've never once suggested going to the ER. Those three things alone should have said to you as a professional. Now, I was pre-med, right? I can't treat anybody by license, but I've been treating myself for a very long time. Quiet as kept. So he says, well, you just come tomorrow. So I said, okay. In that moment, I did not really I was irritated, like he's an asshole irritated. If you're offended by language, you just need to forward on because like, no, that I got to do it the way I do it. So I was irritated, but I wasn't like Kiki irritated because Kiki can get very irritated. I wasn't that, but I was just super irritated. So I just hung up the phone and went to the ER. I said, forget this because my life is the responsibility of me. I cannot depend on a doctor. I cannot depend on a nurse. I cannot depend on a pastor. I cannot depend on a mother, father. It comes down to me. That is the message. But let's keep going. So I'm flustered. I'm getting in the car to drive. I was so out of it. I have pain medicine. I was so out of it. I didn't even take pain medicine. I'm just like, something is wrong. Like something is wrong. I felt it. And when people say, if like right when like if you're having a heart attack or whatever, you have that feeling, that thing that lets you know, oh, this ain't right. That's what I had. So I get in the car and I drive to the ER. So I get to the ER and I hate going to the ER. As a matter of fact, so much so that when this all happened, I did not want to go. My blood pressure was 96/49 and I did not want to go. My sister had to make me, which saved my life, which is the video I shared on Facebook for 18 hours. If you saw it, I'm sorry it was graphic, but it needed to be seen. I may pop it up again and pop it back down. Make sure you're following me if you want to see it. I just don't want to, I don't know. I may make it available on my feed, on my page. I may do that. But anyway, at the end of I don't like going to the ER because I don't like to wait. Don't like to wait. So anyway, I go to the ER. So that tells you how bad this was. I go to the ER, park, go in, go right to the front, tell them what's going on. They take my information. And I told them, I'm going to go sit in the car. while, I said, how long do you think? And she said, well, just go maybe, 30 minutes and, come back in. Don't go for a long time. I said, okay. Um, and I go, so anyway, when it's my time, I go in and go to the back. When I get to the back, the nurses come in. I'm telling them, they're asking the traditional history, admin comes in, all of that stuff. And then the physician comes in. He goes to take a look. And so there's this plastic thing. You know what? I'm gonna just show it. Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna show you just this. There's this, you see how this is like plastic here? So that's what like guards against. At the time I had a machine attached. So that just came off as a result of all of this. Okay. But the plastic, he literally pulled it back and his face broke. Like I saw it. And I said, you smell that, don't you? And he just, okay. And then there were two nurses in, and he said, go ahead and start a clindamycin IV on her, get da 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 da. And, he's calmly just directing what needs to happen. Let's run the, I don't know what the different stuff is, that I skipped that day of medical school, but whatever it is for staff and all the, things. And so they run all the tests, which that takes a few days to come back. But they do the IV. Now that IV took I was there maybe an hour total. And then I was gone home. No smell, no infection, no nothing. Like literally, I haven't taken another antibiotic since that maybe 1 hour thing. Okay. Cost me a copay of $950 and probably whatever other bills I'm going to get from whatever doctors that ain't, covered by my insurance and whatever. So it's a very expensive thing. And that's where I'm going with this. This is the medical. Okay. So anyway, bottom line, there was an infection. The machine got removed. We are now moving into a stage of healing to allow the wound to close. Okay. However, sepsis, and I am actually starting an independent research on study on this. And if you have Chat GPT, I've done some stuff out there on it and I'm pulling it up. You can look it up. Sepsis is a leading cause, or YouTube or anywhere, of death in America. So whether you have, and this is what I'm learning, this is what I was afraid of. And then I realized, had I not made that decision, that could have been the difference between me being here to have this conversation or not, had I not gone to the ER. And it shouldn't take that. It just shouldn't take that. And so whatever needs to happen, and I guess it's going to be you. It's going to be you and it's going to be me. And we have to stand firm when we're dealing with anybody in the medical, whether it's home health, whether it's doctors, physicians, x-ray techs, whoever. We have to stand. And that's difficult to do. I'm going to tell you, here's the thing. Before this happened, before I literally started with Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance in this past whatever open thing. So it started Jan 1. Before that, I didn't believe in insurance. Now I had to have it. I had to have it because of Obamacare. So I had it during that time. Otherwise, I'd have been paying out the yin yang. But as soon as Trump said we didn't have to have it, guess what I did? Took it off. Or not that we don't have to have it, but that we don't have to pay more if we don't have it. So I stopped getting it. I went back to the way. And let me tell you how life was before insurance, how life was. If I called the doctor to make an appointment, I'm in. If they can get me same day, I'm in same day. Because guess what? I'm paying cash. There's not a 3-week wait. There's not a 3-month wait. Are you serious? With before insurance, whatever needed to happen with regard to my care, if it was a phone call, if it was a follow-up, whatever happened. And what I'm seeing here is what by having it, don't get me wrong, I'm glad they're paying all these people because I did not know that I was going to experience the illness that I experienced in order to get the education that I'm getting about the United States healthcare system. I would not. I knew it in my gut, just like I know a lot of things in my gut, but I don't speak on it because I don't know. Like, I don't really have that issue because I just go to the doctor. But let me just talk. Let's talk about one more thing and then I'm going to shut this down. Where are we? 20 minutes. I promise you, I'm going to keep all my live streams under 30 minutes because that was the biggest complaint I used to get before. Like, I can't listen to it all because it's long. Okay. Anyway, without insurance. And I know the response is, well, God, and I'm not telling anybody, don't quit your insurance, baby. I'm so glad I have it right now because I would not have been able to afford this. I can't even afford it. I can't afford it with insurance. So I definitely wouldn't be able to afford it without insurance. Okay. But let me just say, so I'm not saying to stop, but what I am saying is to pay attention. The tools that we have will come from our awareness and our attention and then our action. So there's three components that have to happen. And this is not just this is pervasive. Like, I'm keeping this to one topic. Oh, but baby, we're going to go on a whole lot of other ones. But with regard to what happened this past week, what I'm saying is you have to pay attention for yourself and your loved ones. We watched in COVID-19 where over and over people lost their lives. The majority, I think I looked it up, it said over 60% of COVID deaths were due to sepsis. Not due to COVID, even though that's what it says on the death certificate. Were actually due to sepsis. Similarly, a lot of the deaths from kidney disease aren't due to kidney disease. The actual cause of death at the time of death is sepsis. I have lost so many people in the last few years, and I'm seeing this recurring thing. My ex-husband, and I don't want to get it because it's still too close and too sensitive. And this is why I don't want to talk about these things, but this is why I have to talk about these things because it's going to keep happening. Because the people who are there and that are our doctors, our trusted people, in some cases are not incented to help us. They're not incented to help us. They're incented to do what the insurance companies want them to do. They're incented to do what the pharmaceutical companies want them to do. Let me just go back to this, to the wound care doctor, back to the beginning, because this is sensitive to me because I might not be here if I did not take that into my hands. And I think about elderly people, and I think about people with disabilities of any kind, whether it's brain, mental, emotional, physical. I have a master's degree. I can read the law, interpret it and get it and explain it and flip it, turn it around and teach it. And I am having to fight through a system that is not designed to help me heal. And I'm not putting it on. And it's not the system's responsibility. It's not. This is how it works. They got to get paid. Like, I got to get paid to do taxes. I can't just do taxes for free, but my goal, or to do whatever, but my goal is to help. It's to help. And it hurts my heart when I can't help because someone can't afford it, but you can't because you got to eat. This is how America is. But what I am saying is you've got to be able to help yourself. You've got to stand strong. And so one thing that I'm committed to, and where are we? 24 minutes, only got 5 minutes. Get to the point. I am committed to this will change the way I do everything. It's going to change the way I do everything. It's going to change the way I reach out. It's going to change the way I deliver information. And so at the end of the day, I've gotten super emotional because I just think about how many people just died because they didn't know. They didn't have the words, or they did have the words, but someone wasn't listening. Someone said it's in your mind. And I get it. Nikita, I get it. I get it. I see it. And I said, and I've told many people, I said, this episode of my life is tied to my purpose. It's something that I am supposed to see because I have the voice. And my stomach is not going to heal until I start talking. It's got to come from inside out. And there's so much that I see. And I've got to make it visible so that other people can see, so they can be aware, so they can pay attention and they can take action. So at the end of the day, whether it's yourself, your loved ones, whoever, you have to be your own advocate, whether it's tax stuff, whether it's whatever. You, if you can afford to pay, if I, but here's the thing, there are some places you can't even go with money. So that's what I was going to say a second ago with the wound care. When they said, well, we can't see you because you don't have a referral and da 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 whatever, and I said, okay, well, I'm gonna go get the referral. But what if I just pay it? Like, what is, why can't I, just pay it? And they said, oh, it's gonna be 600 for this, then you're gonna get a doctor's bill, and it's gonna be thousands of dollars. Which at the end of the day, it was probably going to be about the same as an emergency room visit, so I could have paid it. But they weren't going to see me anyway because they were getting ready to go home. So at the end of the day, all I'm saying, I'm going to stop here. Take your care, take your life in your own hands. Don't rely on somebody. I could go 24 to 48 hours just talking about this kind of situation that has happened to me in the last 5 months over and over. So it wasn't that this is the first time. This has been this recurring kind of thing. And what I realize now is this is not, so this isn't a one-off. This is what's happening. This is what's happening in our communities that don't have a voice. This is why brown and Black people are leading, or were the leading deaths in COVID, leading cases of COVID. And, I have a whole story about that, that another, I'm going to just say it briefly. If you happen to be here, if you happen to be here for this last 2 minutes, you get the treat. But here's, even with my grandson, he was misdiagnosed. He had COVID. We took him in. My kids took him in saying they thought, I told them, take him to the doctor. He's probably got COVID. He's probably got COVID. Went in, nope, he doesn't have COVID. Nope, he doesn't have COVID. They sent him home, just give him a couple of days. His fever's going crazy. Do Tylenol and Motrin, switch outs and all of this stuff. And so that's what we do, because he gets febrile seizures. So we know how to do that. So they came home and did that. I said, no, go to the ER. Go to the ER. They left. They went to the ER. They did a COVID test. First thing, 100% he had COVID. I said, let that doctor know, because Kiki was about to come out. They don't want to see Kiki. They don't. I said, go to the doctor and let him know and ask for your money back. And he went, and the doctor said to him, well, being that your son is nonverbal, it's really difficult to properly diagnose them. If you're Christian, hold your ears, because baby, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it on live. This is too much for the first one. I'm not going to do it. But because he's nonverbal, they're saying they didn't give him a COVID test because it's hard to die. What the front door? Not acceptable. Not unacceptable. So with that said, I'm going to close this live. Please, y'all, just I haven't even finished the website to say like, follow, whatever. Wherever you're seeing this, like, follow me, give me feedback. Let me know. I have so many stories, just mine. And I know it's happening across the board. And we can see it in the statistics. It's not just because of our nutrition. It's not just because of Black women are the leading in breast cancer and da da da. It's not just because of genetics, nutrition. It is not. And I will continue to do my research. I will continue to share. Follow me, get informed. Awareness, attention, action. That's it. Awareness, attention, action. We're going to talk. It's so much. It's so much. Anyway, love you guys. Stay healthy.